Hi, this is Lorraine, and I've been guided to create another video. If you'll give me a minute to clear, center, and balance my energy, we'll get started. Since I created the last video, I've had 3 very strong messages come in. So I'm going to share those right away. 1, 3I-Atlas is a primer. The second thing is 3I-Atlas is first contact. The third message is this is the first phase of first contact. I guess there's 4 things. The fourth thing was return to earth. Those 4 things have been coming in very strong for the last week, and those are the 4 main points, the most important things I can say. They are undeniable, and I wish I could share all the different ways that information was confirmed, the synchronicities I've received, but I've tried to share that information in the past. I think it was in 2021, and when I was reviewing the video, it just seemed inaccessible. Unless you're experiencing that information coming in intuitively, and how that information comes in and how it's synchronized in my daily life, unless you can relate to that, the information is extraneous and inaccessible. It doesn't make sense. And this is one of the reasons why I encourage people to work on tapping into your own intuition. We are all our own best guides. But I'm going to continue on and explain what I know or what's come in. The first thing was the word primer came in right before my last video, and when I was making the video, I couldn't recall the word, so I used the seal. That metaphor from the Bible, from Revelation, about humanity being sealed. The angel coming in saying, do not harm the land, the sea, or the trees until I can't remember the exact words, but the followers of the divine have been sealed. So 3I-Atlas is a primer, and when I looked up primer, let me go back a minute. When I heard the word primer, the first thing that came to mind was the movie Contact. But I wanted to look up the definition, and the definition was one who primes a small elementary book for teaching children how to read, a CBC book. And then that didn't resonate, so I looked up the scientific meaning of primer, and it was short single-stranded nucleic acid sequence essential for initiating DNA synthesis. So that made sense when I thought about 3I-Atlas, the first video I created about 3I-Atlas coming in. I don't really want to go over all of the information I've already done because I don't want this video to be too long, but essentially 3I-Atlas is moving through our solar system. It's been moving through many solar systems, many galaxies across space, and doing what I've referred to as like a handshake, an introduction, and an exchange of information as it passes through solar systems, passes by planets, stars, and so on and so forth. And so if you think about primer in that scientific sense, the 3I-Atlas is exchanging information to upgrade or synthesize our DNA. And I did mention that either you could see it either as it's raising our vibration, which is changing our physical makeup, our DNA, or it's changing our DNA, which is shifting our vibration. but it's preparing us or aiding us in our transition from what the esoteric community has referred to as from a 3D perspective to a 5D perspective. I don't like those terms. I prefer expansion. We are expanding our consciousness and our awareness and our place in this universe. But the word primer came through very strong. And if you go to that movie Contact, and if you haven't seen it, you can shut off the video, or if you care, there is a spoiler here. But there is a point where all this information is sent to Jodie Foster's character, whose name is Ellie, which also was another synchronicity, but I'm not going to get into that right now. And so she gets all this information from this source, but they can't put the information together. It makes no sense. She says, we have to find the primer. The primer is what makes sense of all the information. So once they figure out what the primer is, which is a simple mathematical formula for true and false, they're able to look at the information, discern the meaning, and create what they're meant to create. So the primer is a foundation for us to understand. Okay, this is what came in very strong. This primer, this information that's coming in, is to help us understand what's happening, what will happen. That has been coming in so strong. I have no words to really describe that. The other thing, 3I-Atlas is first contact. 3I-Atlas is how the galactic community is coming forward. It's a very passive way because they don't want to create fear. They, right, whoever they are, I'm not going to get into that right now. They don't want to create fear, but this first pass is extremely important for setting the foundation to build from. Okay, the primer. It's very important. But 3I-Atlas, make no bones about it, this is first contact. This is the first phase of the contact process, the whole integration or initiation of Earth and humanity into a greater galactic community. And as I say that, I'm actually seeing the scene in Contact where Jodie Foster meets the extra-dimensional being, extraterrestrial being, the alien, who presents itself as her father. So she's not afraid, right? So this is a slow and gradual process introducing us into this greater galactic community. And what was very, very clear is there is so much information and speculation because we really can't know anything, right? Right now, we don't know anything for certain. The 3I-Atlas doesn't even follow all the criteria for a comet, right? We know that. But what came in very strong is that it's behaving in a way so it's not frightening or not intimidating. But once it passes, I'm going to say once it passes Earth, its closest proximity to Earth, something's going to happen. And what comes in very strong is it's going to be undeniable. It's going to be undeniable. And the reason why that's very important is because I was watching a video by Brian Cox. I guess he's an astrophysicist. I've never heard of him before, but it was very interesting. He taught me about comets and how 3I-Atlas is not typical. But the point that I'm trying to make is I watched that video, then I watched another video, which was the same video but longer, less edits. And then another video that was like almost an hour long. It was the same video, but again, it was longer with less, I guess, less edits. But it was the same exact video, different titles. And every time I tried to watch it, I watched the first one in whole, I watched in its entirety, but the second one and the third one that were put out, I couldn't watch it because every time I turned it on, I would get plausible deniability that kept coming in clairaudience, and it's very off-putting. So that energy coming into my body saying plausible deniability is a very, to me, manipulation, right? So anything that comes in that's not received into my body in a way that's comfortable or supportive, I have to reject. And so what that said to me was this extraneous information that's slowly being offered is meant to give plausible deniability of what 3I-Atlas and any other object coming into the system could imply. And then I started to try to watch the NASA thing, revelation of pictures, revealing of pictures, with Stefan Burns, and I couldn't even get 5 minutes in. It was just, the energy was so off-putting. I'm like, this is not helpful for us. This is not helpful for us. And so this all to me comes from this place of plausible deniability. So this information came in so extremely strong that this is primer, this is first contact, that it was undeniable. And then all this other information came in that I can't really share because it wouldn't make sense to you, but I'm absolutely certain that this is first contact. And then, like I said, something's going to happen. I think it's December 19th that it's closest to Earth. Something's going to happen that's undeniable, absolutely undeniable. And that's come in very strong also. The other thing that came in this morning, that was a reminder. Science doesn't create the universe. The universe created science. Science is something that we have manifested or created to help us understand this world and the universe around us. It's a construct that we've created, an infrastructure that we've created on this world to help us understand these things. But it doesn't define the universe. It doesn't define what we know to be true. The divine consciousness is the creator of all things. All things. And science will never prove creation. Science will never prove the existence of a divine creator because it's not meant to. It's just meant to help us make sense of this world and where we live from this 3D perspective, from this level of expansion, level of understanding. Okay? Give me a minute. What came in also was that there's going to be no little green men coming out of 3I-Atlas. There's going to be nobody teleporting or down to Earth from 3I-Atlas to meet us. That's not 3I-Atlas. What we call, or what we have labeled 3I-Atlas, that's not what its purpose is. Its purpose is just an introduction. Its purpose is just about presence and exchange of information. The other thing is, when I was editing the last video and I was finding the photos for a part of it, a section of it, where I was talking about legions of angels or legions of beings of love and light. I call them beings of love and light because no matter what they look like or how they present themselves, as long as they're carrying love, unconditional love in their heart, that vibration, that energy field, whether they look frightening to us or ugly to us by our standards, if they carry that energy of love, they're beings of love and light. Okay, there's no need to fear them. And so as we go move forward into this next phase, it's really important for us to start to integrate that in as truth. So in 2020, there was a very strong message I received about all beings who are not meant to be here on earth must leave. They cannot be here. There will be karmic consequences for those individuals as well as their worlds as a collective. They must leave because humanity was going through this process of transcendence. We're going through the process of tribulation and revelation. We were becoming aware, growing, expanding to another place, and there was to be no manipulation. I know there's been a lot of manipulation, which I'm not going to go into, but at that time there was a very strong message that all beings not meant to be here must leave. That being said, gladiola, those are the beings in the water, and the raptors who live in the inner earth, I've communicated often with them. They are meant to be here. They've been here longer than earth humans, surface dwelling humans, and they are meant to be here, but everyone else was informed that they must leave. When I was listening to that video with Mr. Cox, or Dr. Cox, he's probably a doctor, PhD. He talked about Oumuamua and Borisov, the first one from 2017 and 2019, which I've heard of Oumuamua, but I didn't know much about it. I've only heard of it. So those were the first two interstellar objects to come into our solar system, and that was 2017 and 2019. But nothing else really came in after that. So to me, that was a synchronicity. And then having 3I-Atlas come in June of this year, 21st, I received very strong messages saying that these I had visions of these beings who I once were standing very far away. In my visions, they were outside of our space, but observing and sending love and light. Those same beings started moving forward. And so I was like, well, I guess, I didn't say it this way, but I guess that they're being allowed to move forward and come and aid us. And so that to me was another synchronicity, very important for me in my receiving messages to confirm what's happening. So as I'm going through this spiritual awakening, this massive awakening in a way that I can't describe, it's been very challenging. And I would say November of 2019 was the beginning, based on my intuitive knowing of this process of tribulation through and revelation. And so that would mean next year, November 2026, will be 7 years. And the tribulation process is supposed to last for 7 years. And so I have not been very good with timing. I do understand what's going on, but I feel very strongly that that will be a significant time for us, November of 2026. We're coming into alignment. That's the very strong message I've had for about a year, is everything's coming into alignment. So when I see names, dates, numbers, all these things are starting to line up, and they're very strong messages for me. So I'm hoping that as you watch this, that you can tap into that energy and find your own confirmation for what you're hoping to find out or learn or know. So the other thing I would say is when I received that very strong message of return to earth. It came in as I was, again, looking for those photos for my last video, or pictures to put in on the video. And I kept on hearing and seeing return to earth, return to earth, return to earth. And it was deep in my body, to the point where it brought me to tears. And often when I get emotional, it's not about being sad. It's never about being sad. It's always that the information is so deep in my body that it's undeniable. And then accompanied with that deep, deep feeling and deep, deep knowing is unconditional love in a way that I have no words for. It's a feeling of absolute love, and it warms my body. It warms me from the inside out. And so as I received that message, return to earth, it was very emotional, but it was also funny because I saw like the crossing guard, like stopping traffic for people to cross the street. I saw a being in that crossing guard jacket calling in beings from other worlds to come into our space now. And it's organizing it and it's drawing it in. And so it's not only drawing in physical beings to come here to earth, it's drawing in energetic support. So we're not going to have a traffic jam of beings from other worlds coming onto this world, but I know, I can feel with every part of my being that we will have a physical introduction coming. But once again, 3I-Atlas is this primer, it's first contact, it's preparing us for the second phase. Okay, 3I-Atlas is the first phase, which means if there's a first phase, there's going to be a second phase, right? I think that's it, but I have to say one more time, undeniably, just like I received those messages that all the beings that aren't meant to be here need to leave, I'm feeling very strong in my body that this is first contact. There will be a second phase, and we are moving into a galactic awareness, a galactic community. And as I say that, I'm seeing the Lorax, and this was very emotional for me too. I had visions of the Lorax and him saying, I speak for the trees, right? The Lorax speaks for the trees. And in my 2 videos ago, I said that the person who will speak for humanity has been anointed. And so that person who speaks for humanity will not only speak for humanity, they will speak for the raptors, they will speak for the gladiola and her people, they will speak for the trees, they will speak for the land, they will speak for the water, they will speak for all beings on this world. And in 2021, I had very clear visions and messages and interactions with the raptors and gladiola where they deferred, that they would defer to this person who was meant to speak for the trees, not just humanity, but for all beings on this world, and who will aid us in ushering, who will aid in ushering us into this next phase of our expansion. Okay? All right. Thank you.